In this video, I'll demonstrate how to create a route, preview it, and navigate it using the Android version of OsmAnd Maps and Navigation. My emphasis is on hiking routes, but you can apply most of this to other activities. For this demonstration, I've loaded the appropriate map. You can use standard or roads only. Once you've done that, everything else in this video can be done offline. In general settings, I've set the units of length to kilometers and meters. And from Configure Map, I'm using the Touring view, which provides the clearest view of hiking trails. To create a route, let's start with the simplest example. I'm at the trailhead. Here's my current position on the map. I do a long press on my destination, push the routing button, make sure I'm in pedestrian mode. And here's my route. It extends from my current position to the checkered flag. The arrows along the route show the direction. And the route's about 3 kilometers. To make the route round trip, I mark my starting point and add it as a subsequent destination. Here was the original destination. Now it's a waypoint. In addition, the arrows now point in both directions. And the distance is now roughly doubled. I can make more complex routes by marking a series of subsequent destinations. I can achieve similar results by marking intermediate destinations. Marking the first intermediate destination creates the first waypoint you encounter on the route. That gives us a loop going clockwise. The last intermediate destination creates the last waypoint you encounter on the route. That gives us the same loop, but going counterclockwise. Every route on OsmAnd can be previewed. To do this, you first press on the Directions button, and then Here. From this route details screen, you can learn a lot about a proposed hike. At the top is the total distance and a rough approximation of the time. There's the average altitude, the altitude range, the vertical distance up, and the vertical distance down. Of course, these numbers are just estimates. The total distance is typically a bit lower than the actual distance. The time assumes you are going 5 kilometers or about 3 miles an hour with no allowance for elevation gain or stops, so it's just a rough guess. The altitudes are close. The chart shows the elevation profile in blue and the slope profile, which is a measure of steepness, in green. A 0% slope is flat and a 100% slope is 45 degrees. Negative slopes are downhill. The directions for the route are at the bottom. You can correlate the route with the elevation and slope profiles by pressing here. Here, for example, is where you'll find the highest point on the hike. The purple dots are spaced a kilometer apart. And of course, if you change the units of length in settings, you can get these numbers in miles and feet. Here the purple dots are spaced half a mile apart. Okay, we've got our route. Let's navigate it. To do that, I press on the Directions button and then the Go button. Navigation always starts from your current position. And these panels are enabled from the Configure Screen menu. I've enabled Destination, which shows the distance to go on the route. These two give distances to the next 2 turns. Street name shows the trail you're on as marked by the blue arrow. Or as you get closer, the trail you're about to turn on. If the trail isn't named on the map, you still get the directional arrow. So here's the first turn. The trail name changes at about 150 meters. And these two indicators recalibrate once I've made the turn. Something like this happens at each juncture throughout the hike. Essentially, these are turn-by-turn directions, but on the trail rather than on the road. This turn is also the area we identified as the high elevation point of the hike. If I again bring up the route details screen, the numbers and chart are recalibrated from my current position. And I can see that it's all pretty much downhill from here. Here's the third turn. And the fourth turn, which isn't actually a turn but is treated that way. This is a map of trails leading from the Happy Isles area of Yosemite National Park. I mark a beginning point, and here's the difference when creating a route remotely. I select from the menu, Directions From. The rest is the same. Here I'm marking Vernal Falls as a destination. And then Nevada Falls as a subsequent destination. Just as before, I can preview it by pressing the Directions button and then pressing here. I can also save the route as a GPX file for later viewing. The slope profile shows that in places, the route gets pretty steep. Note that pressing the Go button here would navigate from your current position. That might be useful if you're trying to navigate to the trailhead, but not otherwise. Pressing the X icon deletes the route, letting you start over. But I can bring it back because I saved it as a GPX. Map markers are points of interest you can use for planning. To create one, you just long press on the screen, then press the flag icon. You can also create routes with them. Here I've marked out a list of rides at Disneyland. I'll hide some of the map details so we can see this better. From the Map Markers menu, I press the Directions button and then select all the markers except my current position. I click again on the Directions button and a route is created, connecting all the markers in the order I have them, starting with the entrance and ending near the Matterhorn. Note the distance in the convoluted route. We can make it more efficient by pressing the flag button. And then selecting from the menu, Sort Door to Door. The route is recalculated. The beginning and the end of the route are the same, but the waypoints in between have been sorted for a more efficient route, with more than 1 kilometer saved. Here I've used map markers to anchor down the route of the annual Beta Breakers race in San Francisco. First, I reverse the route so it properly travels east to west. The rest of this is the same.